Hi, and welcome to the Women's Technology Council Leadership video series. I'm Kassandra Acuna, and I'm a third year majoring in computer science. I'm really delighted to introduce Shamla Naidoo, managing partner at IBM. Shamla is an expert on cybersecurity and is also an attorney and law professor. With her deep technical and industry knowledge, she is highly sought after as a speaker around the world. Shamla, I'd really like to welcome you and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Cassandra. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, my first question, what does a profession in cybersecurity entail? Are employers looking for any specific skills in cybersecurity?
Let me just start out by saying that cybersecurity is like an industry on its own. So think about it like an end-to-end profession rather than a component of a profession. So in whatever role you have in a normal job, think about it as being available in cybersecurity. You got to do everything from defining the strategy to executing the strategy and everything in between, from communications, writing policy, communicating about the policy, telling people what the rules are, then enforcing the rules, doing the technical work, the proactive, protecting, whatever your digital assets are, and then executing that. For the most part, you'll find that hiring managers want to hire people who are creative in their thinking, who are curious and are willing to learn. And also, every day is different. There's no one defined way to deal with cybersecurity. It will always depend on what are you trying to protect, where you're trying to protect it, and who you're trying to protect it from. So it's really important, I think, for anyone like you in your position or other students thinking about this as a role, to not just prepare for one single part of the role, but rather to prepare for a cybersecurity role more generically.
You spent about 36 years in technology, from an engineer to now an executive. Is there anything that you wish you had known at the start of your career?
Just like anything else in life, you learn and you grow. So, for me, the philosophy has always been, if I go into a situation, I'm either going to win or I'm going to learn. So I'm going to be successful or I'm going to learn because I failed. Being a failure has never been for me a losing proposition. Failing has always been an opportunity to learn. And of course, winning has been an opportunity to be successful, to showcase accomplishments, to, collect kind of the list of things that you want to be remembered for. I don't have many regrets. There are things I wish I had done differently, for sure, but none of them are substantive enough for me to spend too much time worrying about it. Instead, I want to look at what did I learn from it and how am I applying those lessons as I continue through my career.
That's actually incredibly helpful. It's not always about failing, whether or not you win or lose, because regardless, you get something out of whatever you've done. Every experience is really important.
So the key thing about this is, when you fail, is to learn how to recover quickly and graciously, right? So accept the failure because that's going to help you to fix it quickly before it becomes a habit, before it becomes a pervasive issue. It's all about failing quickly so that you can recover quickly, and then failing graciously because we all going to fail. You shouldn't beat yourself up over failure. What you should be looking at is, this is just another brick in my wall. I'm going to put these building blocks in. I'm going to get a more solid foundation and a more solid, stable wall.
So my next question, you immigrated to the United States to pursue a career in cybersecurity and an education in cybersecurity. In terms of your own career path, how has your background impacted your choices?
So let me, that requires a little bit of context. There are two things here that worked for me and may work for others. The first is making sure that I had enough tools in my toolkit. So what I mean by that is having enough knowledge, skills, experience, and, all of bringing together all of those and knowing that I've got good, solid tools to help me to be successful in the career that I chose. The second thing, and probably the more important, was the ability to transform myself, to reinvent my career time after time, to become more relevant in the industry. Let me tell you what I mean by that. I started my life out in the earlier years. I even did COBOL programming on an IBM mainframe. Okay. And so, just think about the evolution of technology from back then all the way through where we are today, talking about cybersecurity. And it doesn't come, by accident, right? There has to be a very concerted effort to reinvent your career, to refresh your skills, and to replace some of the lessons and the technology that you have learned and that you know really well and that has served you well with new things. And so, I think that ability to transform and reinvent has actually helped me personally. Part of that too is innovation, right? Is how do I embrace innovation? How do I adopt innovation, both in my own career, as well as to augment my toolkit and my set of skills? So those things are what really have helped me to, move my career to where it is. And it's not just, saying I want to go become a cybersecurity expert and just kind of headed down that road. There are a lot of stops on the way. There are a lot of things that you need to learn. There are a lot of things you need to embrace and experiment with. So that curiosity to experiment and learn new things, things that you don't know, things that make you uncomfortable, things that you come in and you think, oh my gosh, am I ever going to learn this? Those are all the experiences that actually help you, I think, to evolve, to transform, and to reinvent yourself as needed. So it's not just doing that as a person, but it's also doing that as a technologist, because the technology has changed so much and continues to change at speeds that we've never seen before.
Okay. That's actually also really helpful, considering it's still in between whether I want to go into cybersecurity or data management.
Let me give you some very specific advice, though, because you asked the question, should you pursue a career path in data or should you pursue a career path in cybersecurity?
Yeah.
Let me tell you how I think about that. Data will always be there. We live in a data economy today. Mm-hmm. Every business is collecting as much data as they can. Every business is using the data that they collect to get insights about how to become a better provider of services, of capability, etc. Mm-hmm. What's really important, though, is that, we in a data economy, there will always be work related to data. But at some point, we may actually change, right? We weren't always in a data economy. And just think about cybersecurity. Whenever you have technology, whenever you have a digitization of an asset or a workflow or a process, you're going to need cybersecurity. Mm-hmm. What I'm suggesting is that in every field, you're going to need cybersecurity. Any way you use technology, you're going to need it. However, not in all fields are you going to need the level of data that we need in businesses today. So data is a subset of the cybersecurity curriculum. Mm-hmm. The opposite is not true. So if you go to cybersecurity, you're going to learn how to protect data. You're going to learn how to manage data. You're going to learn how to handle data. But if you go into data, you're not automatically going to learn everything about cybersecurity. As you think about how you go get hired, how you go find jobs, it is always important to think about what's the demand in the industry and what is the supply. And if you look today, we are nowhere near being able to meet the demand for cybersecurity skills. And so if you go into that field, you're going to be employed forever and then some.
What advice would you give someone going to their first job interview?
I think going in with an open mind, being flexible, and allowing the conversation to go where the conversation needs to go is one very good technique, right? So be open, be flexible. The other thing I think is, we have to be passionate about what we do. And sometimes interview situations can be a little bit formal and it's harder to demonstrate your passion. So it's really important to find ways to communicate passion, because nobody wants you to take a job that you're not going to love and be happy at and be excited about and be energized by. So, it's important, I think, that when you go into an interview, you have ways to demonstrate your passion for whatever it is you're doing. Now, it has to be sincere, right? Because if you're not passionate about something, as soon as you start a job, people will know. And so it's important to, look at that and say, am I really passionate about this? And if I am, how am I going to express the passion?
Thank you so much, Shamla, for being here and letting me interview you. And it's been a really great pleasure to talk with you. And we as a school and everyone here, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and advice with us.
Absolutely. You're welcome, Cassandra, and I wish you the best in your career.